A way can be a guide, but not a fixed path. Names can be given, but not permanent labels. Always passionless, thereby observe the subtle, ever intent, thereby observe the apparent. Being and non-being produce each other. Difficulty and ease complement each other. All beings work without exception. Yet if they live without possessiveness, act without presumption, and do not dwell on success, then by this very non-dwelling, success will not leave. So sages manage effortless service. The way is unimpeded harmony. Its potential may never be fully exploited. It is as deep as the source of all things. It blunts the edges, resolves the complications, harmonizes the light, and assimilates it to the world. Profoundly still, it seems to be there. I don't know whose child it is. It's before the creation of images. The talkative reach their wits' end again and again. This is not as good as keeping centered. The opening of the mysterious female is called the root of heaven and earth, continuous on the brink of existence. To put it into practice, don't try to force it. Heaven is eternal. Earth is everlasting. The reason they can be eternal and everlasting is that they do not foster themselves. That is why they can live forever. Higher good is like water. The good in water benefits all, and does so without contention. It rests where people dislike to be, so it is close to the way. Where it dwells becomes good ground. Profound is the good in its heart, benevolent the good it bestows. Goodness in words is trustworthiness. Goodness in government is order. Goodness in work is ability. Goodness in action is timeliness. But only by non-contention is there nothing extreme. To keep on filling is not as good as stopping. Calculated sharpness cannot be kept for long. When one's work is accomplished honorably, to retire is the way of heaven. Carrying vitality and consciousness, embracing them as one. Can you keep them from parting? Concentrating energy, making it supple. Can you be like an infant, purifying hidden perception? Can you make it flawless? Loving the people, governing the nation. Can you be uncontrived? As the gate of heaven opens and closes, Can you be impassive? As understanding reaches everywhere, can you be innocent? Producing and developing, producing without possessing, doing without presuming, growing without domineering. This is called mysterious power. Hold the ancient way so as to direct present existence. Only when you know the ancient can this be called the basic cycle of the way. Those who preserve this way do not want fullness. Just because of not wanting fullness, it is possible to use to the full and not make new. Attain the climax of emptiness. Preserve the utmost quiet. Returning to the root is called stillness. Stillness is called return to life. Return to life is called the constant. Knowing the constant is called enlightenment. Knowing the constant gives perspective. This perspective is impartial. Impartiality is the highest nobility. The highest nobility is divine, and the divine is the way. This way is everlasting, not endangered by physical death. Eliminate sagacity, abandon knowledge. See the basic, embrace the unspoiled, lessen selfishness, diminish desire. Detach from learning, and you have no worries. Ordinary people try to shine. I alone seem to be dark. Ordinary people try to be on the alert. I alone am unobtrusive, calm as the ocean depths, buoyant as if anchored nowhere. Most people have ways and means. I alone am unsophisticated and simple. I alone am different from people, and that I value seeking food from the mother. For the countenance of great virtue, only the way is to be followed. Be tactful, and you remain whole. Bend, and you remain straight. The hollow is filled, the old is renewed. Excess is confusion. Therefore, sages embrace unity as a model for the world, not seeing themselves, they are therefore clear, not asserting themselves, they are therefore outstanding, not congratulating themselves, they are therefore meritorious. It is just because they do not contend that no one in the world can contend with them. To speak rarely is natural. That is why a gusty wind doesn't last the morning. A downpour of rain doesn't last the day. Those who tiptoe don't stand up. Those who take long strides don't walk. Those who see themselves are not perceptive. Those who assert themselves are not illustrious. Those who glorify themselves have no merit. Those who are proud of themselves do not last. Gravity is the root of lightness. Calm is the master of excitement. Good works are trackless. Good words are flawless. Good planning isn't calculating. What is well bound has no rope confining it, but cannot be untied. What is well closed has no bolt locking it, but it cannot be opened. Be humble to the world, and eternal power never leaves, returning again to innocence. Be open to the world, and eternal power suffices, returning again to simplicity. Those who contrive spoil it. Those who cling lose it. The unguided soon come to an end. The way is eternally nameless. The way is to the world as rivers and oceans to valley streams. Those who know others are wise. Those who know themselves are enlightened. The great way is universal. It can apply to the left or the right. All beings depend on it for life, and it does not refuse. Its accomplishments fulfilled, it does not dwell on them. It lovingly nurtures all beings, but does not act as their ruler. As it has no desire, it can be called small, as all beings take to it. Yet it does not act as their ruler. It can be called great. Therefore, sages never contrive greatness. That is why they can become so great. Should you want to contain something, you must deliberately let it expand. Should you want to weaken something, you must deliberately let it grow strong. Should you want to eliminate something, you must deliberately allow it to flourish. Should you want to take something away, you must deliberately grant it. This is called subtle illumination. Flexibility and yielding overcome adamant coerciveness. The way is always uncontrived, yet there's nothing it doesn't do. By not wanting, there is calm, and the world will straighten itself. Virtue comes after loss of the way. Humanity comes after loss of virtue. Duty comes after loss of humanity. Courtesy comes after loss of duty. Manners mean loyalty and trust are thin and disarray's beginning. Foresight is a flower of the way, and the beginning of ignorance too. Therefore great people dwell in the thick, not the thin. They abide in the substance, not the flower. So they leave the latter and take the former. Nobility is rooted in humility. Return is the movement of the way. Yielding is the function of the way. All things are born of being. Being is born of non-being. What is softest in the world drives what is hardest in the world. Non-being enters where there is no room. That is how we know non-contrivance enhances. Unspoken guidance and uncontrived enhancement are reached by few in the world. Extreme fondness means great expense, and abundant possessions means much loss. If you know when you have enough, you will not be disgraced. If you know when to stop, you will not be endangered. No crime is greater than approving of greed. No calamity is greater than discontent. No fault is greater than possessiveness. So the satisfaction of contentment is always enough. When the world has the way, running horses are retired to till the fields. When the world lacks the way, war horses are bred in the countryside. For learning, you gain daily. For the way, you lose daily. Losing and losing. Thus you reach non-contrivance. Be uncontrived, and nothing is not done. Sages have no fixed mind. They make the minds of people their mind. They improve the good, and also improve those who are not good. That virtue is good. They make sure of the true, and they make sure of the untrue, too. That virtue is sure. The relation of sages to the world is one of concern. They cloud their minds for the world. All people pour into their ears and eyes, and sages render them innocent. The way gives birth and nurtures, grows and develops, completes and matures, builds up and breaks down. It produces but does not possess. It acts without presumption. It fosters growth without ruling. Seeing the small is called clarity. Keeping flexible is called strength. Using the shining radiance, you return again to the light, not leaving anything to harm yourself. This is called entering the eternal. Knowing harmony is called constancy. Knowing constancy is called clarity. Enhancing life is called propitious. The mind mastering energy is called strong. When beings climax in power, they wane. This is called being unguided. The unguided die early. Those who know do not say. Those who say do not know. Calamity is what fortune depends upon. Fortune is what calamity subdues. Sages are upright without causing injury, honest without hurting, direct but not tactless, illumined but not flashy. Do non-doing. Strive for non-striving. Savor the flavorless. Regard the small as important. Make much of little. Repay enmity with virtue. Plan for difficulty when it is still easy. Do the great while it is still small. Sages never do great things. That is why they can fulfill their greatness. If you agree too easily, you'll be little trusted. If you take it easy a lot, you'll have a lot of problems. Therefore, it is through difficulty that sages end up without problems. What is at rest is easy to hold. What has not shown up is easy to take into account. What is frail is easy to break. What is vague is easy to dispel. Do it before it exists. Govern it before there's disorder. The most massive tree grows from a sprout. The highest building rises from a pile of earth. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. Those who contrive spoil it. Those who cling lose it. Thus sages contrive nothing, and so spoil nothing. They cling to nothing, and so lose nothing. Therefore people's works are always spoiled on the verge of completion. Be as careful as the end. Be as careful of the end as of the beginning, and nothing will be spoiled. Thus sages want to have no wants. They do not value goods hard to get. They learn not learning, to recover from people's excesses, thereby to assist the naturalness of all beings without daring to contrive. When people are unruly, it is because of their sophistication. In ancient times, good practitioners of the way did not use it to enlighten the people, but to make them unsophisticated. I have 3 treasures that I keep and hold. One is mercy, the second is frugality, the third is not presuming. By reason of mercy, one can be brave. By reason of frugality, one can be broad. By not presuming, one can make your potential last. Good warriors do not arm. Good fighters don't get mad. Good winners don't contend. Good employers serve their workers. This is called the virtue of non-contention. This is called matingness, supremely natural and pristine. To know unconsciously is best. To presume to know what you don't is sick. Sages know themselves, but do not see themselves. They take care of themselves, but do not exalt themselves. The way of heaven wins well without contest, responds well without speech, comes of itself uncalled, relaxed yet very resourceful. True sayings seem paradoxical. Sages do not accumulate anything, but give everything to others, having more the more they give. The way of heaven helps and does not harm. The way for humans to act is without contention. When a tree is strong, it is cut for use. So the stiff and strong are below, and the supple and yielding on top. Know the male, keep the female. Stiffness is thus a companion of death, flexibility, a companion of life. Only those who do not contrive to live are wise in valuing life. Thank you for listening. May unimpeded harmony permeate within your being and well up in the depths of your heart, superabundant consciousness. Much love and peace to you. Cheers.